Justin Richards, and you're watching UDL TV.
I'm Jake Marani, and you're watching UDL TV.
Welcome into the first ever episode of UDL TV. They come in off that hangover.
My sources have never been wrong before.
I think it'd be good for Rocco's legacy too, man.
And we would just see a complete shakeup at that point.
I'm Noah McGilly, and you're watching UDL TV.
I'm Kevin Donald, and you're watching UDL TV.
Clark wins it.
Check, baby. See you in the office.
I'm JT Bain, you're watching UDL TV.
You're watching UDL TV.
You're watching UDL TV. Welcome into another episode of UDL TV. I'm your commissioner, Troy Costner, here with the co-founder of UDL, Shamerda.
Yes, welcome back to another UDL TV. And today we actually have some breaking news, right, Troy?
Yeah, that's true. We have some crazy news to break here on UDL TV Live. And one of those teams that has become beloved over the years and has been dominating the league, Umbi and Bigar, are actually breaking up. The Umbi and Bigar era is officially over. Umbi.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming at all.
Wow.
So Bigar is going to be playing with Jimmy Phipps, free agent Jimmy Phipps, who we obviously saw they had some success in one tourney together last season when they won the title. And Umbi, get ready for this, Umbi is playing with Brandon.
Jeez.
Umbi and Brandon. Which
So
Reno.
what does that mean for Reno if Umbi is now playing with his partner?
That's the question. That's the question to be asked. And to help us break down some of this, let's bring on two of our UDL All-Stars and UDL analysts, Cam Green and Michael Beretti. Boys, welcome.
Yes, sir. Welcome. We're back.
That news is crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know what to think about that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone.
The success they had together, they're a dominant force. Let's be
why
real.
even do that? They've
Let's
won
be
two.
real.
Like, what is going on here?
Why do you guys think they did that? Do you have any inclination of why they might have wanted to split up?
Because of how dominant they've been. That's the only answer. They're like, let's just go fuck around and go try and see what we can do with other people.
I mean, I get it. I do get it. You want to have fun. You want to make the league fun. Obviously, one team winning isn't fun, but we see it every tourney. There's slip-ups between themselves and other teams like me and Rochi, Lang and J. Rich, or the Berettis.
Yeah.
Everybody slips up. You're not perfect. You're not an 8-for-8 team, you know? So you are a dominant force in four tourneys a year, 5 tourneys a year.
Yeah, how many championships do they have?
They have 4 regular season UDL titles as a team. Bigar has a 5th with Jimmy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
If you do,
I
but
can't believe that.
if you guys think about it, right, this team has always been flip-flopping with potential partners. And, both of these players have played with multiple partners and have had success with multiple partners. So do you think that this has been on their mind for the past couple of years? Or do you guys feel like this is something that is brand new to Umbi and Bigar? Or do you feel like they've been planting seeds for the last couple of seasons?
I think they've
Definitely.
been testing the waters, dipping the toes in, seeing where they lie with other people, seeing how they connect with other people. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, say it doesn't work out, they always have the fallback of each other. They're not going to turn their backs on. I feel like this is mutual. I don't think it's like Bigar, I'm leaving you because I think I can win more without you. I think it's more of a, let's split up, let's see where the league goes. Worst case scenario, if they're missing out on playoffs, you know what they'll do. They'll get together.
They'll just get
win a
back together.
tournament, and they'll come in second in verse.
Exactly.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they're absolutely fine. This move is crazy, but I think if it doesn't work out, they'll find their way back to each other. That's what'll happen.
Well, let's assume that it does work out because these are 2 talented players teaming up with 2 other talented players. Beretti, I have a question for you. Let's say both teams work out, both end up having nice seasons. which team out of Umby and Brandon or Jimmy and Bigar do you think is going to have more success this season?
It's a great question.
That is a good question. I'm going to go with Jimmy and Bigar for the pure fact that they won a championship already. They have proven success. They beat me in that championship, actually. It's kind of tough, but anyway, they beat me. we lost 2 in a row to them, so that was horrible. But we'll skip that. I think they have more success. I think their proven success already helps them in thinking that.
If they hadn't played a tourney together already and won, would you still think this? I'm just curious.
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a better question, actually. I would say probably, I would still go with them. I would still go with them, definitely. Yeah, I think because Bigar's always messed around for a really long time. Like, they've not played together before, even without them winning. You know what I'm saying? And he's still been to a championship without Umby and without Jimmy. So I would still pick Bigar.
Cam, do you agree with Beretti, or are you on the other side when it comes to who would be the better partnership here?
So I don't agree. And this is no disrespect to Jimmy or Bigar. I understand they won a tourney. They played great that tourney. It's any given Sunday when you're on the die table. But I think you have Brandon coming off a phenomenal season. You're teaming up with, I think, hands down, a top 3 player, Umby being. I don't see... Yeah. If you put in a 7-game series, I'm going to take I'm going to take Umby and Brandon over Jimmy and Bigar. I just think the dynamic of the 2 veteran guys, one's coming off his best season yet, and being a guy that's left a partner after a really good year, that you kind of have that going for you. You know you're playing with somebody that's at another level that you're getting to or that you're at. And
that's true.
I think the disconnect between Jimmy and Bigar is going to be that Jimmy is a great player. Hands down, great player. Rookie of the year. The kid's got a bright future. But Bigar is at a level he's a 5-time champ. He's been in the conversation for DPOY, MVP, OPOY. FIFA, he can FIFA.
He does everything.
He does everything. They're levels apart, which, who knows, maybe they end up winning 2. They get another one, and it works out. I just think that if I had to take 2 guys, I'm taking Umby and Brandon.
Okay, I feel like you guys both had great answers about which team would be better. But just a quick question. You don't have to even back your answer up. Who do you think would have more success as an individual player when it comes to winning UDL awards by not playing with each other? Because I feel like that's another reason why they're not playing with each other. So who do you think would grab one of those prestigious awards first? Would you think would be Umby or Bigar?
I would give it to Umby's FIFA.
Damn.
I think he would win a FIFA King before anybody. I think he'd win that next. I'd pick Umby.
What do you think, Jay?
I see that. I get that. Yeah. I don't. It's just so tough. You saw Bigar.
This is crazy though.
You've seen Bigar do crazy things this year. Both of them were in conversations for 2 huge awards this year. And I think they'll still be up for awards, and possibly one of them could get MVP or DPOY. I mean, you know me, I'm trying to hold that down. But anything can happen. They could both get awards next year.
True. That's very true.
But I'd probably go with Umby. I think Umby is somebody who's consistently been up there in those conversations.
I agree.
That's no disrespect to Bigar, because Bigar is obviously
top 4, top 3. Yeah, he's tough. Yeah, he's so good. They're both so good.
But I think my bet would probably be Umby before Bigar.
What's interesting about their dynamic is Umby was always kind of looked at as the number 1 option on that team, the MVP candidate, the Batman, versus Bigar was always kind of seen as the Robin. And I think that was until this season. Obviously,
I agree.
Bigar found himself on the MVP ballot this year. Umbi did not. So I feel like
Yeah.
that kind of gap that they had between them was slimmed out a lot this season. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes next year with them officially playing with two new partners, see, how it shakes up.
And I feel like, just to piggyback off what Troy just mentioned to you guys, right? Last season, keep in mind, Bigar and Umbi, I'm pretty sure, played less tourneys with each other as a partnership. So Bigar got to actually spread his wings and show you guys his potential without playing with an Umbi. And then that made people believe, okay, maybe Bigar is actually better than we think he is, right? And I think that's why he got more praise when it came to becoming a first MVP nominee for Bigar that year. And I think it was due to the fact that he showed that he can succeed at the same level without Umbi. So.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. I genuinely think it could go either way. I just think, because you got to remember, I'm taking
Umbi's a dog.
Umbi and Brandon. I expect them to win more than Jimmy and Bigar. And in my opinion, your record matters in your MVP category. Your record matters in your DPOY, and in the OPOY not so much, because you can be a lights out scorer and your games just don't go your way. But I think the DPOY and the MVP, your record does show.
I would agree with that.
Like how you do each tourney, like it does factor in more. Like if you're playing more games, you might have higher praises.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also can't wait to see how Jimmy does next season, because he'll play a full season with somebody who of Bigar's caliber. Obviously, that's going to be interesting to watch too. Is how Jimmy plays and how he backpacks off of how Bigar can play.
Yeah. Hey, something I don't want to overlook in this whole storyline is Reno. Reno is coming off of his best season of his career with Brandon.
Love that guy.
Brandon coming off his first All-Star appearance. So Brandon and Reno kind of glowed up as a team, like as players at the same time. Once they paired up as a team, the two of them really saw their career start to take off. And I don't mean to speculate, but this move by Brandon, I think puts him into the villain category of D-Halls and some of these other villains we've seen throughout the seasons. Whereas you're really leaving your partner that you've been grinding at, making it to finals with, and you just quite haven't reached that point. And now you're going to leave him after the season on a whim and go play with a 5-time champ.
Yeah. That's crazy. I can't believe Reno got left like that. But it's going to be crazy to see who Reno plays with too. There's a lot of good free agents out there.
Yeah, there's a ton.
That's my question. Who do you think he should team up with? There's some names floating around. Is there a name that you think he should land on and play with?
I just got to ask Beretti one question.
Who is it? All right, who is it?
Are the Beretti boys playing together next year?
Yep, we're playing together next year, yeah.
So then Reno needs to call JT Bain right now and say, get your ass on the field. Let's get this working. Come on.
I love that pick.
Well, Quincy connection.
I like that.
That team is, I think, scary. Reno, you're coming off the best season. You had a healthy JT Bain. He's back in the movement. He's back in the game.
Yeah.
I don't think you see them not in the top 5.
They've also been great friends for 8+ years, 10+ years, so the chemistry is going to be there on the field.
Yeah, chemistry is there. You don't have to worry about that.
What about like a sleeper Matt Russell?
I like the Matt Russell. I like the Matt Russell
right?
thing.
What about a sleeper Matt Russell? He's on his way up. He looks good.
Oh, yeah. I do think he is playing with Brian again. I think Brian's locking in with him.
That's what I would say as well, yeah.
I don't want to give any bombs without them being true, but my gut says probably another year with Brian. I think they're just getting going.
They are just getting going. He's a sleeper. He's on his way up.
Absolutely.
What about a guy that we just saw come off of his first finals run? After being in the league since season 1, he finally made his first finals appearance, and it was with Bigar, who we mentioned earlier. How about Kamande?
Oh.
What about Kamande and Reno?
That would be a good one.
That
would be a good one.
That could be nice.
That's a good one, too.
I think I think I have a suggestion as well. I feel like Reno could possibly reach out to Darling. A very promising star who we've seen.
That's a good team,
show promise, bro.
Yeah, Darling is good, too. If he could make every tournament, they'd be a playoff team. JT's a good pick, too. I would like to say JT Bain and Reno partner up.
Yeah.
I could see them being a deadly duo. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that we saw JT Bain win the Offensive Player of the Year, and
if he could
make the playoffs.
Reno's on his way up. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Reno, the ceiling is
he's
high for
on
Reno.
a revenge tour this upcoming season since Brandon's gone.
You think?
Are we gonna see a KD versus Russ type rivalry?
That's what I was about to say. You took the words out of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I hope so.
So do you think Reno's gonna have?
I hope Reno
that
keeps that
MVP
going.
season. Now that he wants to show everyone that, like Brandon's gonna leave me, like I'm gonna go have an MVP season. You think Reno's gonna go ahead and prove
Mr.
to the
Triple
world
Double.
that he's legit?
Right? Yeah.
We'll be calling Reno Mr. Triple Double.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey, fellas, I appreciate your time today. It's been real nice chopping it up with you guys. Some breaking news, some crazy news to hear. So go sleep on that. We got Umby and Brandon teaming up next season, and we have Jimmy Phipps and Begar teaming up, and then Reno. We'll have to stay tuned for that because that's still to be remain seen.
Yeah, I feel like we might give you guys a call back later with Reno on the phone, so just wait for that.
Yeah, heard. I appreciate you guys bringing me back. Can't wait for the season to start up pretty soon, fellas. Pretty soon.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Getting ready to defend that depoy, boys. You got to bring it.
Yeah, I'm coming for that old boy.
Let's go, fellas. All right, boys. Take care.
Take
it easy, guys. Thank you.
Welcome back in from the commercial break. Now, Shmurda, as we know, two names have been absolutely running the league the past few seasons.
Yeah.
And that's Cam Green and Sean Roach.
Ooh.
Now, these two guys teamed up just 2 years ago, and since then, they've won 4 UDL championships together. They've each won not only a Defensive Player of the Year award, but they've each won a Most Valuable Player award in back-to-back seasons. And they were the 1 seed yet again this season. They've just proven to be a dominant force in the league. And both of them are starting to etch their name up the rankings in career accolades.
All-time list.
All-time stats and everything. So my question is, what I'm wondering is, who's had the better career? So to help us answer this question, let's bring on two of our UDL All-Stars, two of the UDL greats. Let's bring on Riley Lang and John Commande. Boys, how we doing?
How are we?
What up, boys?
Doing great. Let's get it.
So you guys heard the intro there. I'm wondering who's had the better UDL career thus far. Is it Cam Green or is it Sean Roach? Very similar accolades.
It's tough.
The floor is yours. Mande, you want to take it first?
Yeah, I can go first. So for me, I would have to put my opinion on Roach. I think Roach, number one, I'm just going to go off the eye test first. Not even going to talk about stats. He's got the hardest catch. He's got the hardest throw to catch, in my opinion, on the table. You can't tell where that thing's coming from. You see it last second. And just lastly, like, he gets the craziest bounces. You can't read where his bounces is going to go. He talks shit or he talks crap. So he does everything that you would want your partner to do if you were on the die table. Now, obviously, he is the reigning MVP. That right there is already my argument. he is the reigning MVP, so we can say that he was the best player last year. But, I would say that this just goes to show that, right now he's definitely the best player in our league. I'll put it over Roach in terms of career, and I'll put him in terms of, just right now, who's the best player just because he has that reigning MVP. Also, he does have the two straight scoring titles. That right there is difficult. Even in any league that you're in, whether it's die or anything else, like to be the number one scorer in your league just means you are the man in the league. No question about it. So 115 points in his rookie year, that's second most in the league behind, who I'm going against tonight, Lang. Kid's a dog too. Kid's a dog too, I gotta say that. And it's and it's a rookie record by far. So just off the stats and the initial eye test offensively, I only talked about eye test offensively so far. I gotta give the edge to Rochi.
I like that. What about you, Lane? Who do you have? You have Roach,
or
do you have Cam?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, Rochi is playing at the top of his game, and he's been at the top of his game ever since he's honestly stepped foot playing in the UDL. But for some reason, just Cam, I just think overall and all around, just has the edge over Roach because I feel like Cam is somebody that can play with anybody. Cam can play with your best person in the league or your worst person in the league and still put up his numbers and make himself look like a complete all-star, which he has before. He's played with multiple people throughout this league, and Roach has really only played with, I think very good people. I'm not, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone Rochi's played with that has been maybe a below our all-star level. And, Cam puts on a show every single time he steps foot up to a table. It's unbelievable. Offensive, defensive. He talks, he communicates. He's just like that team guy that everyone wants on their team. And I just think like that, when you're looking for like the best player, that's what you look for. You don't just look for maybe who offensively or who defensively is better throughout the game. You got to look at smaller things like being vocal and, picking up your teammates when he's down. And Cam, A+. That's all that man does. Along with being unbelievable at offense, unbelievable at defense. He leaves every die tournament filthy, rolls around on the ground. It's just, I don't know. But for them to be a team, that's, I know the bread and butter. We all know the bread and butter, but that's a very, very close second.
Yeah, we're gonna need a new food name for Cam and Roach.
They could be like a peanut butter and
peanut
jelly.
butter jelly.
Something. They need something.
Nacho cheese, Doritos.
No, I agree with Lang on that though for sure. Cam's got great intangibles when it comes to like just the guy himself, but Roach, I just literally, if you had to see someone on the other side of the table who you do not want to go against right now, for me, it's Roach. I don't believe I've personally beat him maybe one time, and then just who knows where that die is going. At least like other people's, you could kind of read it halfway through the game. You cannot read this kid's throw. Also, he's always dirty. He's going after everything. I believe he probably has some of the best highlights on the UDL highlight page, other than Zilly and some other people. But Cam's got to be up there. Not Cam. I'm sorry, Roach. Roach is up there. Cam's up there too. Kid's got some plays, but I love Roach's game, and I'm just backing him right now. In terms of defensive player of the year, Kid's got a defensive player of the year also. Like, just cannot go wrong with putting him on your team at all.
No, I respect it. I respect both you guys' answers because those are the two top dogs in the league right now. Like Troy said, they're both MVP winners and they're both Defensive Player of the Year winners, and they've been sharing it as a partnership for the last 2 seasons. So it's kind of reminiscent of when we had Langer and J. Rich taking home those 2 awards for consecutive seasons. So when it boils down, though, it's a little more competitive here. in the instance where comparable, not even competitive, because J. Rich is just as good as Lang, but comparable because they've won the same awards and they've been brought up in the same class, you know, and it's just real funny to see that these teammates have not only had the same success, but they've had it together on the same team. So it's kind of crazy when you look at it that both of these greats are competing at a high level with each other. Right, you would think one would outshine the other, but not in this case. You know, they're both having their seasons, and just like Commande said, Roach is coming off of MVP, and the year before that, you know, if we would have had this conversation last year, we would have said that Cam was coming off an MVP. So it's crazy, man.
Even in any sports league, you don't see teammates doing what they just did in UDL, where there's two players on the team that maybe one will win MVP one year, another guy will win MVP on the same team the other year.
Langer and J. Rich. But
that's crazy.
We didn't see J. Rich capturing MVP, but he was definitely.
I'm just saying, the scope. I feel like what they have done in the last 2 seasons is unprecedented. Like, just to have two guys on the same team winning the exact same awards in back-to-back years is just a crazy stat. And someone's got to put an end to it. One of you guys got to come in and grab this MVP or depoy. That's not Cameron Roach.
Oh, don't you worry.
Come on,
I'm back in full effect this year.
Get back in the winning circle. I got to get in there one time, but Lang got to help us.
Off-season's been treating me well.
Like that.
Hey, I would just like to say that you guys are both, veterans in your own right. You both have your own success in the league. And, never put these type of awards or recognition past yourself, right? Just like Troy said, this is die and this is the UDL and it's, a players league. So I feel like it just depends on who's your partner and how consistent you guys are and if you're on fire or not, right? So I feel like it's a new hot team all the time.
Anything can happen. I mean, like you said, I mean, you've seen me and J. Rich do our thing for years, and then last couple of years we kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. So who's to say that this year Roach and Cam come out, maybe do the same thing, maybe are still competitive and still have their plays, but who says that other teams squeak out those overtime wins or get that game winning plonk or make that crazy catch. And that just goes along. That just goes to say, like, with the league, it's crazy. You really can't picture walking through this league ever, even if you have two of the most dominant players. At one time, myself and J. Rich, we were the dominant players, and then look what happened. We can still compete, but we're not as dominant as we ever were.
And as elite as Cam and Roach have been in their 2 seasons, they have 4 UDL championships together out of 16 tournaments. So like, as great as they've been, there's still other teams that are making stuff happen, which just shows even more how crazy it is that they each won their MVP and their depoy, because there's other elite players that are in the ranks that are fighting for these awards, but somehow Cam and Roach just keep finding a way.
Shout out to Alec for predicting the inevitable when he told us all on UDL TV or on a podcast that Langer and J. Rich's feat of winning 3 championships in 1 season will never be done again. And since then, we haven't seen it. So I feel like in the UDL, dominance is not happening every year.
3 years ago, bro.
Yeah. Lang, that's been bothering you for years.
What happened, Lang?
No one's gotten 3 championships in 1 season.
I'm telling you, man, this UDL season coming up next is going to be the most competitive one. Every season gets more competitive, so who knows who's going to be on top of the mountain next year.
Putting in is impeccable.
Yeah,
I like to hear that, dude, because that just makes me like I have to get throws in. If I'm gonna be good this year, like Shmurda said, you got to get throws in, and you got to be consistent, and you and your partner just got to be locked in, bro. And as long as you're locked in, you're consistent, and you're showing up, you have a chance to win that tourney. You have a chance to walk away with that pot, and more importantly, those belts. I just want the fucking belt. I want the belt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's what we play for, is the belt.
Totally.
That's what we play for.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you two on the die field. Hopefully have a couple battles ourselves. And, hey, Lang, you say you're coming back for the crown. I'm excited to see if that's the case.
Oh, you have no idea, man. You have no idea.
I know, Lang. Like, what's going on, dude? Last year, I was
Hey,
surprised to hear there were so many other winners.
I was last couple of years. I was kind of doing my thing. There was some great opportunities that I couldn't really pass up on, but now I'm fully locked in and I'm ready to go.
Let's go. I love to hear. And Commander, you were in the finals last year, so let's get one this year.
Yep.
Let's take one.
I need one.
Let's take one home. I appreciate the
Every
both of you
tournament
guys for
that I'm
pulling up,
available, I'm
man. Thank you guys again for your takes, and I hope you guys, have a great night.
Same to you, Schmata.
Thanks, boys.
Troy,
Yeah,
as
baby.
always.
Take care.
It's now time for my favorite segment on UDL TV, and that's a J-Rich Top 5 list. So let's bring on your record-breaking 10-time UDL champion,
Jeez.
Justin Richards.
Go.
J-Rich, how we doing?
What up?
What up, guys? I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic.
Chilling, man.
So
Awesome.
it's that time again. It's time for another one of your top 5 lists. And this time, I got a unique list. Obviously, you just heard the breaking news earlier that is going to be playing with Brandon this season and Bigar is going to be playing with Jimmy. So naturally, the whole playoff layout gets shaken up this season, one would assume. So I'm curious from you, who's your top 5 playoff seeds this season?
Top 5 playoff seeds, yeah. I mean, that news is definitely a game changer because I think it's pretty likely one of them two teams would end up on my list. But we'll start it off with coming in at number 5. I do think Troy and Ty will place 5th in this playoff seeding. They're longtime players. They're due for a decent spot, and I'd select them for the number 5 slot. Coming in at number 4, that's going to have to be Beretti and Drew. I know many might not agree with that one, but it's Drew's young blood. Michael's been around. These two could actually make some noise this season. I'm going to give them the number 4 spot for this playoff seeding. Coming in at number 3 is going to have to be and Brandon. With this new matchup team, they're both lethal players. I feel like I have seen them play together in the past, whether it's been in the UDL or the backyard, and they have played very well from what I've seen. So for that reason, I am going to slot them in right there at number 3. As we move up, coming in at number 2 is going to be Cam and Roach. These guys are known to play well, given just both their offensive and defensive capabilities, I seriously think these guys are going to have a great season and, just roll right through that with a great playoff seeding coming in at number 2. And I'm not going to lie, folks, our number 1 slot this year is going to be Lang and J-Rich. We are going to be on a return for the hunt. We're coming for blood. And that is who I guarantee you will see at the number 1 seed for this year's playoff seeding. So be ready for it. We're coming for you.
I love it.
That's a great list.
I love it. I appreciate you tossing me in there at the 5 spot, but more importantly, you and Lang at the 1 spot. It's overdue. I mean, you guys took a little bit of time off from being that juggernaut just because of Lang, I think, missing some time. But, I mean, he claims he's back. He told me he's coming back for the MVP. He's coming back for the crown. So I feel like that 1 seed prediction for you guys is not far-fetched at all.
Absolutely. We'll move in silence this year. I think, from our kind of lack of performance in the last recent year, it's time to come back, but nobody's going to see it coming. So, consider it, we'll be slipping right in there.
Yeah, facts. I definitely appreciate the list as well because I feel like Lang and J-Rich, they're my favorite team in the UDL. I feel like they're the household name of the UDL, and I would love to see them on top of the mountain again. And it just takes Langer's commitment to come into these tourneys and just being there for J-Rich, right? If he's there for J-Rich and they're together, I feel like they will end up on top of the playoff seeding. And I love to see the young teams in there, the new bloods, right, when it comes to partnerships, right? And these partnerships also include veteran pedigree. So I love that you included and Brandon. Those are 2 guys that I can't wait to see their explosiveness on the dive field next year. And the Berettis, man, I feel like it's definitely their time, and they'll absolutely make a lot of noise next year with the way that Drew's been playing. and Mike's consistency. And I would love to have some honorable mentions. Shout out to JT and Kevin, and shout out to Rocco and Mazzilli, who we might not see as much as we usually see, but still teams that you need to worry about going down the stretch, and definitely teams that are going to be in the hunt for those playoffs and some wins in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll have to check back at the end of the season to see how accurate this list actually ends up being.
Yeah, absolutely. J. Rich, thanks again for yet again another amazing list.
Thanks.
We'll see you on the next UDL TV for your next top 5 list.
Take care.
All right, see you guys.
Let's go.
Ah, are you kidding me? I hate this game.
Dude, eat a Snickers.
Why?
Because you're not yourself when you're hungry. Feeling better? Yeah, I am. Let's play.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
Welcome back into UDL TV. Now, one of the most infamous questions in every sport is who's on the Mount Rushmore?
Yes.
Who are the 4 greatest players to ever play that sport all time? Now, for UDL, I like to ask that same question. Who are the 4 greatest players to ever grace the UDL die field? And to help us answer this question, let's welcome on 2 UDL All-Stars. Let's welcome on JT Bain and your reigning playoff champion, Bigar. Boys, how we doing?
Going on, guys?
Yo.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
So, JT, I'll give it to you. You're the OG. You've been here since season 1. You've seen every single player come and go from UDL. Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
So, this was definitely a difficult question to answer. There's been so many guys that come in and out of the league, so many guys with longevity, crazy stats, crazy accolades, so many people that just blow your mind on the dive field with the eye test and everything. But my 4 is going to consist of, and I think these 2 should be solidified, is J. Rich and Lang as the team, as a dynamic duo. Most championships ever as a team. They won 4 in one season. I don't think that'll ever happen again. Their continued dominance, even through today, they've been there. Lang has been there since season 1. J. Rich has been here since season 2. They got more MVPs, more depoys, more first teams than teams will see in their lifetime. I just think those 2 are solidified. For number 3, and this isn't in no particular order, but I think I'm going to go Rocco as my 3rd Mount Rushmore. Ever since he came in the league, he's came in on fire, just absolutely lighting up the table. He's got the big trophy as a playoff champion. He's got 5-time UDL champion. He's got Offensive Player of the Year this past year. He's been runner-up of MVP pretty much every season he's played. You can arguably, you can make the discussion that every single year he's an MVP candidate, a defensive player candidate, an offensive player candidate, and he's always in the FIFA running. The way he plays both sides of the both sides of the table just like really, really does it for me. And he did say I'm an OG. I'm an old head. I've been here since day 1. I feel like I helped bring UDL to like what it is today. And I'm gonna go with the old G Scott Pulak as number 4. He maybe gave up his game a little too early, so his accolades aren't going to match some of the other great nominees for this discussion. But when the eye test there's no question that he was one of the 4 best dive players to ever touched. He won MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, which I don't think will ever be done ever again. He just got the 2nd highest winning percentage ever, and the only person who has a better winning percentage than him is his partner, Drew Myers. And I remember when we first started playing UDL, people would call us and say, "Oh, is Scott and Drew playing? Because if they are, we're not coming." They were literally scaring people off the dive field before they even got there. So those are my 4. There's, like I said, so many nominees that could be on this list, but that's what I'm rocking with.
That's a great 4. That's a great 4. I definitely expected the Quincy love there. I expected Scott to be on that list, rightfully so. Scott is a dog. He was definitely scaring people off the dive field. And I want to hear B-Gar's list, because I feel like B-Gar has another perspective on the league where he joined a little bit later than JT, and B-Gar kind of is seeing it from a lens where he's seeing the talent that's in the league right now, and he knows who's good right now. So B-Gar, who is on the Mount Rushmore for you?
Yeah, JT, I respect those choices for sure. So much so, I kind of have some similar ones, definitely. Definitely going to start with the dynamic duo of Jerich and Lang. I mean, you said it best yourself. They've been in the league for so long. They're an unbeatable team, the most championships. They went like back-to-back years, MVP deep boy. You don't want to run into them on a die table for sure. And then my third option, and like you said, no particular order, I have to go Rocco as well. I mean, that guy is an all-around one of the best die players we've seen probably ever, I would argue. He can kick. He scores a lot of points. He has some of the best catches we've seen. Just championships under his belt. Definitely on the Mount Rushmore, along with Jerich and Lang. And then, as you guys were saying, I definitely got to go for my fourth pick, my boy Cam. I mean, that guy is just untouchable. He's electric on a die table. He has the awards to go with it, the MVP, the depoy. I mean, it doesn't get much better. He can catch some of the best catches along with Rocco, in my opinion. He scores. He has one of the best FIFAs on the table. Very consistent. Definitely those four, Mount Rushmore for sure.
I like that list too. I mean, Cam, as soon as he entered the league, he's been lighting the league on fire. And I like how you guys have similar lists. I think Lang and Jerich, we can lock in for sure. I like the recognition.
Yeah.
I like the recognition you guys gave Rocco. Though I'm not positive Rocco is as sure of a lock as you guys both claimed. But, I mean, he very well may be. Another name that might enter the conversation is Roach, and even Scott's partner, Drew Myers, another guy, like JT said, the guy with the winningest winning percentage in UDL history. I think it's at 81% winning percentage, which is
Splash, bro.
Insane.
He has 2 offensive player of the year.
My boy
Splash,
Drill.
bro.
If you check all the career offensive stats, man hasn't played in 3 years, and he's still in the top 15, 20 in a lot of categories, with guys having almost triple the amount of games that he has played. So that's absolutely crazy to see as well. But yeah, if I love the Cam pick. If Mount Rushmore had 5 heads on it, I think Cam would be my 5th pick. Man's good at everything. It's like I said, there's so many deserving nominees for this one.
Bigar, I know you're a UDL historian. You joined season 4, but you definitely know your stuff. You've watched old videos. You know what's happened in the past before you joined. Do you think that the skill level is at another level than it was at the time, and maybe that's why you lean away from Scott? And I know it's easy to say, well, he just wasn't around. He didn't get to see Scott firsthand. But that's why I mentioned you're a UDL historian. You know, like, you've heard enough stories. You've seen enough stats to know how good Scott was. But do you think the level of competition is what gives Cam the edge over him?
Oh, man. I mean, 100%. Like you said, like, I've heard stories, but I've never seen him or his partner play. So I can't really put him on my Mount Rushmore. He's an OG. He won all the tournaments. But I would say definitely the skill level has made it a spectacular jump. I would argue there was less players maybe in the OG seasons compared to now. You get all these new teams coming in. I mean, look at my rookie season. I think it was the first time you guys had 2 all-rookie teams. That alone just shows you how good the competition has came this far.
No, absolutely. I would like to say that your rookie class might be one of the best rookie classes ever, because that rookie class had monsters, right?
Yeah.
And not to say there was plenty of great rookie classes. I'm pretty sure all of our rookie classes are amazing, right? But just to show that Bigar was brought up in one of those rookie classes where everyone brought a lot of talent to the league that year. And I feel like that was one of the seasons where it got really tough for people to win multiple titles, because everyone now has their hand in the pot. But I didn't want to take away from Scott and Drew's success because if you look at it, Scott and Drew also had less chances to win these tournaments. Yes, the competition was less, but they had less opportunities to get a championship. We had less tournaments. So if you think about it in that case, that might be a reason why they didn't compile as many stats or as many, wins as you would have liked to see a team that is mentioned as one of those dominant forces. But that's just because it was due to the amount of opportunities they had. But I would love to see Scott and Drew make a comeback and see what they can do against this competition level that the UDL is now at.
I know, I would love crazy.
How do you think they would do, JT, today?
So when back then, I'll agree that the competition now is way deeper. I still think back then when we were first playing, we had a lot of old, guys on the league who could really play, but the league was more top heavy back then. But it's way more deeper now. There's so many more teams that could win championships, compete for championships now. I would think they would absolutely hold their own. I mean, they're definitely not getting up as many shots as they used to, or definitely not getting up as many shots as people in the league now. But if they knew and planned for a tournament, got in the backyard for a couple tosses before they came in, I think they would pick up right where they left off. It's
And
like riding a bike.
We're not asking you about Scott and Drew
at
now.
one point, you never lose it.
Think about Scott and Drew in their prime. I want you to, what is prime Scott and Drew doing in this league? Not Scott and Drew now, not Scott and Drew after not playing dive for a couple of years. Prime Scott and Drew, what are they doing with 8 tournaments with this competition? How many are they winning?
I mean, it would be pretty difficult to see them less than a 1 or a 2 seed in the league. Honestly, you have, I think, the best defensive player in UDL history, and I think one of the top 2 or 3 offensive players in the history. Their chemistry off the die table is crazy. On the die table is crazy. Like there'll be some tilt Tuesdays when they get on the die table and have to face a BGAR, like a BGAR Umbi team, or like the Lang and J Rich. There would be all eyes on them. But I have no doubt in my mind that they'd be competing every single tournament.
No BGAR Umbi. Great response, but no more BGAR Umbi.
I know.
BGAR, I do have to.
I was thinking of the best teams in the league I've seen, so they just popped in. They just popped in real quick.
I hear you.
BGAR, I do have to ask about that because obviously we announced earlier on this show that you are next season playing with Jimmy Phipps. You and Umbi era is over. You're playing with Jimmy Phipps next season, and Umbi will be playing with Brandon. Tell me how that came to be. What was behind your decision making there? Just give me your insight on that.
Oh man! First off, I am so excited to play with Jimmy Phipps. But yeah,
we all are.
Let's go. Umbi and I, we had a talk about it. We've been in the league for 3 seasons. We've made playoffs 3 times, won 2 of them. We've been nominated for awards. We could continue to be partners and see if we could become Mount Rushmore candidates. Who knows? But I think we just love the game in general, and we kind of wanted to switch it up. We wanted to play with other partners.
I like it. No, I respect it. And obviously going with a guy like Jimmy Phipps, someone you have success with. You played 1 tourney with him. You guys win it all. So, I mean, that's not a bad partner to play with next season.
Facts.
Yeah, man. I always think of you and Umbi. You guys are just severely, severely underrated as single die players, not just as a team. And with you guys splitting up and getting different players, it's gonna just show how good you guys are individuals and how good you can work with almost any die player. So I'm excited to see that too.
Hell yeah.
Hey, fellas, really appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming on UDL TV. And remember, Season 7 starts up in just a few months. We will see you on the dive field.
Thank you again, guys.
Season 7. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We're getting up there.
I'm excited.
Yep. Can't wait, fellas.
Take care, boys.
Let's go.
There you have it for another episode of UDL TV. Shmurda, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I feel like there was a lot of controversy, a lot of great debates, and I can't wait to see what's in store for Season 7. That is, a milestone for this league. And I feel like, who would have thought we would have made it to 7 seasons? But I can easily see this league going 7 more.
Yep. I always say we're just getting started, and I really do mean that. So season 7, going to be the best season yet. We'll see you then.
See you later, guys.